Welcome back, everybody. I'm Scott, you're the Bricks. Now let's go to review, and today we have another wonderful comparison video, and we're having dueling banjos, which is fantastic. Straight from 2006, we have the 6206 Tie Interceptor, and on the other side here we have set number 75348 from the Mandalorian Fang Fighter versus Tie Interceptor, the Tie Interceptor, which are going to be compared to today. These actually have about 17 years between each other, and obviously that is pretty clear. Because of the age difference, the best way to really summarize these both sets are, this is the classic. This is the bare bones muscle car from the 60s and 70s, and this is the modern retelling with the more added safety features, power steering, better braking system, better just livery, just way better just quality of comfort for riding. Everything is included in this one, but with this one, you just have a motor and a chassis, and that's all you really need. And both have those pros and cons with that mindset. So let's start off with some introductions. First off, this is set number 6206, released in 2006 with 212 pieces. It retailed for about $20, and now it's pretty expensive. If you buy it brand new, you can get it pretty decently cheap used. This is my own private one that I've had since 2006 actually. And with that being said, some of these parts have been replaced. It's not 100% complete. It is about 98%, but that's okay. I pretty much have it to its original state, and it has been washed and cleaned recently. Some pieces have been replaced, especially like this one underneath the wing and some of the hinge plates in the back. But other than that, it is pretty much exactly the same as it was in 2006. This set did come with just one minifigure, which is right here, your TIE Fighter pilot. We'll go in more detail about that later. And yeah, pretty bare basic, and it's for 2006 set. That's pretty much what you get for it. Okay, let's go check out the newer one. And in this corner, we have, from 2023, 75348, the Mandalorian Fang Fighter versus Tie Interceptor. This is the Tie Interceptor from that set. It's basically a 2-for-1 you get for $99 with 957 pieces. That's included with both of the fighters. I do not have the accurate count just alone for this, but I can tell you from the build alone, it is a lot more than 6206. You also have an inclusion of 2 new minifigures. Well, not really 2 new ones, but for the TIE Interceptor, we have R2-E6 over here for Astromech Droid, and you have a lovely newly updated TIE Fighter pilot, which is a nice addition. Honestly, let's go ahead and review that whole set out of the way, because I'm probably never going to talk about it again. But for that set, I do believe you can dump the Fang Fighter and just keep it a TIE Interceptor. You can drop the price on it, and it probably will sell a lot more. But that's a whole other conversation on its own, and that's all I'm going to say about that set. So let's start with the comparison. Let's go with minifigures first. Well, starting off from minifigures, we have from 6206 just a normal Stormtrooper. Nothing really special about this one. He just has some normal printing on the front, nothing on the back here. Legs are pretty basic, the arms are pretty basic. Take off his helmet here, which is just a basic helmet. All it does have is an Imperial insignia printed on it, and you just have a black head, which comes off very easily because it is rather old. Nothing much to talk about it. I do like the nice little printing on the chest plate here. But yeah, he's pretty basic. No accessories for it, no blasters, no nothing, no Astromech Droid. Just very simple $20 sets. And that's all I can really talk about with this one, because that's all he has. Alright, let's go to the new one. And for 2023, we have obviously a better selection of minifigures. We have 2 actually here. We have the Astromech Droid R2-E6, and we have the TIE Fighter pilot, which is pretty much TIE Interceptor pilot. Same thing, realistically. They just kind of use the same mold from there before. But first off, let's talk about this Astromech Droid. Kind of useless, just a waste of space and another figure I have to deal with. It doesn't really have anything to do with the TIE Interceptor. I don't think they even use Astromech Droids in TIE Interceptors at all, so it's kind of pointless to have him here. I think they just put it in there to pad out the set. So let's get him out and put him where he belongs. And let's focus over here on the actual TIE Interceptor pilot. So like I said, it's basically the same kind of thing you get for the TIE Fighter pilots. You have that wonderful TIE Fighter pilot helmet with the wonderful Imperial insignia, and you have that wonderful highlighting and the silver detail for the eyes and the nose and the little breathing apparatuses on the side. On the back here, it is kind of like a halfy, so you just have the skin tone because underneath it you do have a printed face, which, yay for diversity. We have a nice, I'm assuming, a nice, wonderful woman pilot, which is awesome. I wish it did have more black on the head so that when you put the helmet back on, it does hide the flesh a little bit better and it kind of blends in more with the actual minifigure. I know some TIE fighters have done that in the past, so I wish this one did as well. But the actual printed face is pretty well. You do not have anything on the back. Obviously, it could look weird to put the helmet on. Other than that, you have some wonderful printing on the legs, which is always fantastic, and in the wonderful body print right there. On the back here, you have a print as well, unlike the other one, which is pretty bare bones. And that's pretty much it for this set. You do come with a blaster, comes with 2 little blasters, And that's pretty much it for the Tie Interceptor figure, which is, again, it's just leagues beyond the 2006 version. It's been 17 years, and they just updated the quality of minifigures for these sets. I really enjoy this one a lot, and it looks great with the other ones. I'd love to add another TIE Fighter pilot to the collection. Okay, that's enough for that. We obviously know who wins on this comparison. It's going to be 2023. Let's go look at the sets now. And now we're taking a look at the centerpieces themselves, the TIE Fighters. So 6206, obviously, as we can... And now we're looking at the centerpiece of the set itself, the actual TIE Interceptors. First off, you can notice that the 6206 is smaller than the 75348, and it's a good reason. This one has a lot more pieces and actually is more on par with the more modernized TIE Fighters, especially the Han Solo version, which I really enjoy this one a lot. The amazing detail and sculpture is really awesome. I do have some slight gaps in between the wings and the cockpit, which I'm really not sure if that's supposed to be there. I've been trying to find some references to see if that was built correctly, but it was kind of too late for me as I continued building. But other than that, that's all I can really talk about with the main build itself. And then over here on 6206, well, it's dated, and that's okay, because when it comes to both these figures, it's kind of hard for me to pick and choose. I like them. They both have their pros and cons, and so let's kind of dig into that real quickly. Starting off with 6206, you have a very simple and just non-complicated build. It is nothing else really to talk about. Like I said, it's very much like a 60s and 70s muscle car when comparing to. It's just very simple. It's a chassis, it's a motor, you get in, you have some fun. There ain't much else to talk about. It's very old and design style, so you do have these wonderful Technic pin 2x4s right here, just kind of hold the wings together. With that being said, you are very kind of shaky, so when you are starting to fly this thing about, you do get a little bit of a wobbly at high speeds, which that's okay, it's accepted. You do have the click plates right here for the wings, so that's how you can position those and angle them off in the movement, which is pretty useful, I think, when you're actually going to take these off and store it. I usually have this set stored anyway, so that's usually put away. But yeah, no, it looks great. It looks fantastic. It does go off the look it needs for it, and it does it very simply, and it does it very precisely. It's just 212 pieces, so you get what you get. And with that being said, you do lack in some stability issues and whatnot as well. For details, though, you do have your nice little blasters on the side, which that's it for playability. Realistically, you don't have anything really to shoot out. There is no flick fire. There are no spring loaders. It's just that. You're using your imagination on this one. You also have the translucents here for the two blasters in the front as well. And then you have this wonderful printed piece for the cockpit, which the cockpit is very bare bones itself as well. Once you move this thing up, which you hear, which is just a click plate, you have the cockpit itself, which just has that nice little printed piece for the command module, and you put the happy little TIE Fighter on his ass right there. That's pretty much all you have for the inside of it, no other details. And then on the back here for the engine, you have just that, a nice rounded plate. And then you have the printed piece on the top, which has some nice wear and tear because it's just old. So yeah, it's very bare bones, very basic, but I enjoy that because you can easily build this, get it right out of the box, and play with it immediately, especially for the intended targeted consumer, which are kids, which is not really complicated. You can take it straight out of the box and go right to play with it, which is wonderful, and I really enjoy that. And the last thing I want to talk about with this set is just the wonderful black and blue style job on here. I enjoy this set because it has a little more color variations than just the dark bluish gray and the light bluish gray. You have some black, you have some blue, you have some tan, and it really just looks amazing. I enjoy the older black and blue color schemes for the TIE Fighters because if you watch Star Wars enough, you understand that they actually were blue and black originally. It was just oversaturated in Episode 4, and then later in 5 and 6, they kind of color corrected them to be the black and blue, and you can see that in a few shots, and I'll post some pictures on here to kind of prove my point. So I really enjoy the old black and blue. You don't have this anymore. They just stick with the old gray blobs now, but so I will always give it a point for just overall presentation just because the black and blue, I have that bias towards it because it's just more accurate and it just looks better. But overall, yes, it's simple. It's just, you know, you get in, you get out. That's all you can say about it. It does have its cons. Like I said, you do have a little shimmy shake with it, and that's pretty much it. No real playability except for swooshing with it, but that's all right. For 20 bucks, that's a pretty damn good deal, I'd have to say. All right, and that's pretty much it for the 6206. Let's go take a look at the newer version. And here we have 75348, which is obviously 17 years in the making, is playing catch up to the Tie Interceptor of 6206, and is just a more modernized, more competent version of the Tie Interceptor. With it, you have more modern building styles, building techniques, and it just looks great with the overall detail. It's larger, it's more stable, and it's just heavier. It's a lot more pieces, and that's kind of goes into cons. But let's just go over this set real quick. So with it, you do not have any more of the Technic pins anymore. We're using Technic rods, which is more stylized now into the actual TIE fighters, the way they're built. And then you have the elbow pieces right here, which is how we connect our wings to it, which kind of takes away from the flexibility of them because they're only stuck in one position, that's fine. If you like that, it's kind of harder to store. And then you have the normal black and light bluish gray color pattern here, which I still like the blue and the black. It's more accurate to the films, but you know, modern Star Wars Legos is just like that. It's just how they do it now, and Star Wars is the same, so you do get the accuracy within now films. So yes, it looks very fantastic. The black will smudge and will dirty, so they do try to keep it less studs free over here, best from one takeaway. And the amount of detail on this thing is just pretty damn good. I really do like the back end here. I like the whole cockpit itself. It obviously is leaf and bounds. It's just way better than 6206 when it comes to design-wise overall. But my biggest complaint about this set, besides the coloring of the set, is that it's just, I think it's overly complicated. I think it took way too long to build and had too many bags. The set has 8 bags. 4 of them go straight to the Interceptor. 3 only go to the Fang Fighter, which kind of shows you where the tension actually goes to. But it just, I don't know, this one just took a while to build, and for a 9 and up set, I don't think this has the attention span. I do not think this can hold the attention span that well of children who just want to get up and go and play with the sets. For adults and teenagers, yes, it's wonderful. I get it. This is actually more of the adult for the adults, in my opinion, because you have more detail and more playability with it, and it just makes sense for it. But for a child, for a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, I probably would get tired of building this very quickly and prefer to have 6206 because it's just easier to build and it comes straight out of the box and it's just so much less complicated. This one took forever, in my opinion. Maybe that's my ADHD talking, but it just is a more complicated build. But that's okay because with it, you have stability. You have more updated play features. You have the spring-loaded shooters in the front, which is still one of the greatest things LEGO ever did in the past like 15 years. And you just have a lot better detail, and it just looks more accurate to the screen, besides the color, which is fantastic. I mean, simply, it's just a really good modern take of the TIE Interceptor. It's by itself, this is fantastic. But comparing it to 6206, I'm going to say I just prefer the simplified version of 6206 because it's easier to play with. But this, as a collector and as a fan of Star Wars, this is just obviously a better version. So take that what you will. It does include some details, obviously, besides just the wonderful wings. You do have a cockpit, which opens up fantastically. You can pop it open like this, and you can pop open the top just like that. So you can fit your minifigure in there, which they fit a little bit more snugger. And I actually have a printed piece right here for the cockpit. Cockpit window also has a printed piece as well, which is wonderful, and it just kind of goes on there. I do like these fender pieces that kind of mold out the circular shape of the TIE Fighter cockpit, and you just close the door like that with a printed piece on the top here. No printed pieces on the side, but you do have some wonderful gribbling, which is wonderful detail. And like I said, it's got some heft to it. The engine is a little more detailed as well. My only real complaint is probably over here is the actual gap on the build, which I don't know if that's supposed to be there. I haven't really looked into any reviews for the set or have seen anybody else finish it. I just feel like that's a little off-putting, or maybe it's not correct. In the booklet, it doesn't really, give you a clear example of how it's supposed to look like. It's kind of weird. So I don't know if I did something wrong. It's kind of too late now, but that's my only complaint on that. But no, this is just a wonderful, fantastic TIE Interceptor. I just wish that the color wasn't such a big blob of gray again. The black is nice to break up repetition, but I just wish it had a little more color, like the blues. And overall, it's just sturdy, but I do wish these kind of folded. And it does have a little, the shimmy shakes a little bit when you play with it, but when you put it down, it does that as well. That's just because of Technic plates. But yes, this is the TIE Interceptor from 2023, and obviously it's just catching up with modern times, and it's really just fantastic set. But it's not as simple as I wish it would be. So who's number one? Who's top dog? Who is the best banana in the bunch? Well, honestly, they all are, because everyone here is a winner because we get to enjoy these wonderful, wonderful, wonderful TIE Interceptor sets. It's really up to preference here. I think they're just two fantastic additions to the Star Wars LEGO lineup. Obviously, you do have a large age difference, and with that age difference comes in just better of quality of life. And 2023 Tie Interceptor really shows that, but you do have the nice nostalgic simplified version of 2006, which I think is just better straight out of the box and easier for playability for kids, and this one is more suited for teenagers and adults. But other than that, you do get more modernization, better building techniques, better savability, but with this one you just get simplified fun, and honestly I am very biased with that blue and black, so it just always looks good. They're great to play with, they're fun to have, everybody enjoys them. And the minifigures are okay for both sides, even though this one's just going to be superior all the way. And that pretty much wraps up the comparison for these two TIE fighters. They're both wonderful in their own right. It's really up to what you believe in. So if you can go pick one up, go do it. I highly recommend that you pick up the 6206 always, just to enjoy this nice little piece of Lego Star Wars history. Pick it up cheap if you can. They are pretty expensive still in the box, so try to get it used in a decent shape. Just wash the bricks up and try to find replacement ones. You can get it pretty done. And if you haven't got a chance to pick up the new Mandalorian Fang Fighter versus TIE Interceptor, you know, if you have the $100, I recommend getting it for the TIE Interceptor, but you can trash the Fang Fighter itself because it's just not important. The set is worth it for this. $99 is still a bit too much, but anyway, if you want this new TIE Interceptor and you want a TIE Interceptor in your collection, this is the one you want to get. And this is the one you want to get. They're both fantastic in their own right. And that's all I have for the comparison video. Thank you for watching. As always, please like and subscribe for more premium content. I will try to change things up a little bit. I noticed that you guys do like my last video on the Throwbots, which I'll thank you for the likes and the comments on that one. I really appreciate the feedback. I am starting to look at more older Lego sets like that to look into. I do think that's kind of more interesting than reviewing newer ones. I actually have more fun that way. So this was just a nice little nod back 2006. Kind of love this Interceptor, but I'm still rambling on. Thank you for watching. As always, get ready for more new content. And as always, thanks.